Tom sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the photo taped to his bedroom wall. It showed two kids, arms slung over each other's shoulders, grinning under a bright summer sky. One was Tom, the other was Leo, best friends since 3rd grade. They had built forts, ridden bikes, shared secrets, and promised they'd always be together. But Leo's family moved 2 years ago, all the way to another state. At first, they texted every day, and every week. Then, slowly, the messages stopped. Tom tried calling, once, twice. The 3rd time, Leo didn't answer. After that, Tom stopped trying. Now, Tom felt like a ship floating in space, alone, drifting, with no one to guide him back home. Every day at school felt longer. Lunch was the worst. He sat by himself, watching other kids laugh, talk, and share food. He used to do that with Leo. Now, even the sound of laughter made him feel farther away. He missed the little things, Leo's dumb jokes, the way he always brought extra snacks, how he'd wait for Tom after class, even when he was in a hurry. Tom missed the way they didn't have to talk to feel close. They just were. One rainy afternoon, Tom sat at his desk, staring at his phone. He opened the old chat. The last message he'd sent was months ago. "Hey, you around?" No reply. Tom sighed. He typed a new message. "I miss you." His thumb hovered over send. Then he deleted it. What if he doesn't care anymore? What if he has new friends? What if he forgets me completely? Tom closed the app and picked up a notebook. He started writing. Not a text, not an email, but a letter. A real one, on paper. He wrote about school, about the new comic book store downtown, about how the old tree in the park finally fell during the storm. He wrote about how quiet everything felt without Leo around. And then he wrote the truth. "I don't know if you still think about me, but I think about you all the time. I don't want to lose you. I don't know how to fix this, but I want to try." He folded the letter, put it in an envelope, and wrote Leo's name on the front. He didn't know if it would help, but he had to do something. 2 weeks later, Tom came home from school, tired and quiet as usual. His mom handed him a letter. His heart jumped. The handwriting wasn't his. It was from Leo. Tom sat on the porch steps and opened it with shaky hands. "Hey, Tom," it began. "I got your letter. I've been meaning to write back for a long time. I'm sorry I didn't. When we moved, everything changed. New school, new people. I felt lost. I thought you'd forget me. I didn't know what to say. But I never stopped thinking about you. I kept your birthday card from last year on my wall. I still have the flashlight we used to signal each other at night. I miss you too." Tom's eyes filled with tears. He wasn't forgotten. Leo felt it too. The distance, the silence, the ache of missing someone who mattered. At the end of the letter, Leo wrote, "My parents said we can visit this summer. I told them I want to see you first. I want to talk. Not over text, not over a screen. I want to sit with you under that sky again." Tom folded the letter gently and held it to his chest. For the first time in a long time, he felt like he could breathe. He wasn't alone. And maybe, just maybe, things could be okay again. That night, Tom took out his notebook again. He wrote back. This time, he didn't hesitate. "I'll be here," he wrote. "I've always been here." He ended the letter with a drawing. 2 stick figures under a starry sky. Just like the old days. He mailed it the next morning. Weeks passed. Tom still sat alone at lunch sometimes. School was still hard, but something had changed. He didn't feel like a lost ship anymore. He felt like a signal sent into the dark, and for the first time, he believed it had been received. Then, one sunny afternoon, Tom's phone buzzed. It was a photo from Leo. It showed a suitcase by the door and a ticket on the table. The caption, "Read, leaving tomorrow. See you soon." Tom smiled. A real smile. The kind that reaches your eyes. He looked up at the sky, just like in the old photo. The same stars were there. The same world. And now, the person who mattered most was coming back. Distance had tried to break them. Silence had tried to erase them. But care, real, quiet, stubborn care, had lasted. Tom had reached out. Leo had answered. And in that moment, something powerful happened. Not with armies or warships, but with two hearts refusing to let go. It was small. It was human. It was strong. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is say, "I miss you," and mean it. They sent silence to destroy a friendship, but hope struck back. Asterisk. The days after Tom sent his second letter felt both endless and fast. One moment, he was counting the hours until summer. The next, he was standing in front of the mirror, wondering what to say when Leo finally arrived. He kept rereading Leo's letter. He had it tucked inside his favorite book, the one they used to read together under the porch light, pretending they were space explorers lost on a faraway planet. Back then, the story was make-believe. Now, Tom sometimes felt like he was lost in space, not in stars and silence, but in time and distance. But Leo was coming back, and Tom wanted to be ready. Still, fear crept in. What if things were awkward? What if Leo had changed too much? What if they couldn't find their way? Back to being friends? One afternoon, Tom walked to the old park, the one with the big hill where they used to roll down until they were dizzy and laughing. The tree was gone, but the hill was still there. He sat at the top, watching kids play, and felt a strange mix of sadness and warmth. This place remembered them. He pulled out his notebook. He had started writing letters he never planned to send, just thoughts, memories, little moments he wanted Leo to know. Remember the time we tried to build a raft and almost floated into the storm drain? I still hum the stupid song we made up about the squirrel with the hat. I saved your seat in science class, even though you're not here. He wasn't writing to fix anything. He was writing to remember who they were. That night, Tom's mom noticed the notebook on the table. "You've been writing a lot," she said gently. Tom nodded. "Trying to say things I couldn't before," she smiled. "Sometimes the hardest part isn't talking. It's believing someone will listen." Tom looked up. "Do you think you'll really come?" "I do," she said. "Because when someone matters that much, people find a way." A week later, Tom got a text, not a letter this time, but a message. "Leo, flight set, landing in 10 days. Tom's heart jumped. 10 days. It wasn't that long, but it felt like standing at the edge of something big he wanted to do. Something special. Not a big party, not a crowd. Just something that said, "I've been waiting. I never gave up." Then he remembered the flashlight, the one they used to shine from their windows at night. 2 blinking dots across the street, sending secret messages in code. ... meant still awake? ... meant me. 2. Long, short, long was best friends. Tom dug through his closet. Dusty and a little dented, but it still worked. He tested it. The beam was weak, but it shone. That night, he stood at his window and sent the old signal. Long, short, long. Long, short, long. Long, short, long. He didn't know if anyone would see it. He didn't know if Leo even remembered. But he did it anyway. The next morning, nothing seemed different. But Tom felt lighter. He had done something, small, quiet, but true. At school, his teacher handed back a writing assignment. Tom had written a short story about 2 explorers separated by a broken ship, trying to send signals across the dark. The teacher had written at the top, "This is beautiful." You wrote about hope like you've lived it. Tom smiled. Maybe he had. That night, he shone the flashlight again. Same signal. Same hope dot, and then a miracle dot from across town, near the old neighborhood, a flicker in the dark. One light. Blinking back. Long, short, long. Tom's breath caught dot. It couldn't be. Leo wasn't even here yet, but the signal came again. Clear, steady, then a text. Leo, saw your light. Mom let me come early. I'm back. Tom ran. He didn't think. He didn't plan. He just ran, down the stairs, out the door, past the quiet streets, toward the park where the hill still stood. And there, sitting on the grass, looking up at the sky, was Leo. He turned, saw Tom, stood up. They didn't say anything at first. Just looked at each other. Two boys who had grown, changed, lived different lives, but who still recognized the person standing in front of them. Then Leo smiled. The same crooked smile. The one that always made Tom laugh. You really kept the signal, Leo said. Tom held up the flashlight. Never stopped using it. Leo stepped forward. I never forgot the code. They stood there, not hugging yet, not talking much, just being. Like no time had passed. Like the distance had never been there at all. Finally, Tom said, I thought I lost you. Leo shook his head. You found me again. They sat on the grass, shoulders touching, looking up at the stars. I missed this, Leo said. I missed you. Me too, Tom said, more than I knew how to say. They talked for hours. About the move, about the new school, about the friends Leo made, the times he felt alone, the moments he wished Tom was there. Tom told him about the silence, the loneliness, the letter he almost didn't send. I was scared you wouldn't care, Tom admitted. Leo looked at him. You were the only one who did care enough to try. They didn't fix everything that night. Some things would take time. Some feelings were still tender. But something powerful had returned. Not just friendship, but trust. The kind that says, I'm here. I'm not leaving again. As they walked home together, Tom realized something. Distance had tried to break them. Time had tried to erase them. Silence had tried to win. But they had sent a signal, small, quiet, human, into. Tom still blinked sometimes, surprised to see Leo sitting beside him at lunch, laughing at his jokes, nudging him with his elbow the way he used to. It was real. He wasn't imagining it, but something wasn't quite the same. They talked. They hung out. They even rebuilt their old fort in the backyard. But there were pauses now. Quiet moments when Tom could feel a gap, like a door, slightly ajar between them. Leo talked about his new city, his new school, the friends he made. Tom smiled and nodded, but inside, he felt a small ache. He was happy Leo was back, but he was scared he'd lose him again. One afternoon, they sat on the porch, watching the sky turn orange. Tom held the flashlight in his lap, turning it over in his hands. You still use this? Leo asked. Every night, Tom said. Just in case. Leo looked at him. Even when you knew I wasn't here? Tom nodded. It felt like I was. Saying, I'm still here too. Leo was quiet for a moment. Then he said, when I was gone, I used to look at the stars and wonder if you were looking at the same ones. Tom's chest tightened. We were under the same sky the whole time. Yeah, Leo said softly, but it didn't feel like it. Tom knew what he meant. Distance wasn't just miles. It was silence. It was not knowing how to say, I miss you, without sounding weak. It was fear, fear of being forgotten, fear of trying too hard, fear of caring too much. That night, Tom lay awake. He thought about how hard it was to reach out, how long it took him to send that first letter, How many times he almost gave up Dot, and then he had an idea. The next day, he went to the library. He asked the librarian for notebooks, pens, and stamps. He bought a small box, the kind people use to store keepsakes. Then he went to work. He started writing, not just to Leo, but to others, to his aunt who moved away, to a cousin he hadn't seen in years, to Mr. Howe, his old teacher who had moved out of state. Short letters, simple ones. I hope you're doing well. I remember when you helped me with my science project. I still have it. I think about you sometimes. I just wanted you to know. He didn't expect replies. He just wanted to say it, Dot, and then he added something else to the box, little things that meant something. A pressed flower from the park, a ticket stub from the movie they saw together. A doodle Leo had passed him in class years ago. He labeled the box, "Things I Don't Want to Lose." When it was ready, he showed it to Leo. Leo opened it slowly. His eyes moved from one item to the next. He picked up the doodle, a silly drawing of their teacher as a robot. He laughed, a real deep laugh that made Tom smile. "You kept all this?" Leo asked. Tom shrugged. "I didn't want to forget." Leo looked up. "You're the reason I came back, you know." Tom blinked. "What?" "When I was gone," Leo said, "I felt like I was fading, like I was becoming someone I didn't recognize. But your letter, it reminded me who I was, who we were. You were the only one who reached out. You were the only one who said, 'I still care.'" Tom looked down. "I almost didn't send it, but you did," Leo said. "And that changed everything." They sat in silence for a moment, the kind that wasn't empty, but full. Full of memory, of meaning, of something unbreakable. Later that week, Tom brought the box to school. He didn't show it to everyone, just a few people. The quiet girl who used to sit beside him in math, the boy who moved away last year, and never got a proper goodbye. He gave them small versions, a note, a drawing, a shared memory. And slowly, replies began to come. A postcard from his aunt. "Your letter made my day. I've been thinking of you too." An email from his cousin. "Let's not wait so long. Next time." Even Mr. Hawley wrote back, "Thank you for remembering. That project meant a lot to me too." Tom didn't fix everything. He couldn't bring everyone back. But he learned something powerful. Caring doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be real. One night, he and Leo sat on the roof, flashlights in hand. They sent signals into the sky, not just long, short, long, but new ones. Dash, dash, dash. "I'm glad you're here. Dash, 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 dot. We're still us." Below them, the town slept. But above, the stars burned bright. Tom looked at Leo. "Do you think anyone else is doing this? Sending signals? Trying to connect?" Leo smiled. "Maybe. And maybe someone out there is finally answering." Tom leaned back. "It's funny. We're so small, just two people on a tiny planet. But when you send a signal, it travels forever." Leo nodded. "And if someone sees it, even years later, it means you are never really alone." Tom closed his eyes. He imagined their light, small, steady, human, shooting through space. Not a weapon, not a warship, just a message. "I am here. Remember you. I care." And somewhere, maybe, someone would see it. Maybe they'd feel less alone. Maybe they'd pick up their own light and blink back, because that's what humans do. When they feel lost, they reach out. When they're broken, they try again. When silence tries to win, they whisper, "I'm still here." And sometimes, just sometimes, the universe answers. They sent silence to destroy a friendship, but hope struck back. The days grew shorter, the air turned cooler, and Tom started to feel it again. That quiet fear in his chest, the one that whispered, "He'll leave again." And this time, it might be for good. Leo had been back for weeks now, and life felt full again. They rode bikes, stayed up late talking, and even started a comic club at school. But Tom knew Leo's family hadn't moved back permanently. They were just visiting. Soon, he'd have to return to his new home, his new school, his new life. Tom would be left behind. He didn't say it out loud. He didn't want to ruin the time they had. But at night, when he shone his flashlight into the sky, the signal felt heavier. Long, short, long. Best friends. But what did that mean when you lived in different cities? When you couldn't just knock on a door or walk to someone's house? One evening, Tom sat at his desk, flipping through the memory box they'd made together, the one filled with notes, drawings, and small treasures from their childhood. He touched each item like it was fragile, like it might fade if he held. A too long dot, then he found something new. Tucked between the pages of an old notebook was a folded piece of paper. He opened it. It was in Leo's handwriting. "If you're reading this, I'm probably gone again. I don't want to go. But even if I do, I want you to know, you taught me how to come back." Tom's throat tightened. He read it again. And again, Leo wasn't just remembering the past. He was trying to protect their future. That night, Tom didn't just send the old signal. He created a new one. He used 2 flashlights, one in each hand, blinking in a pattern he and Leo had never used before. Colon dot dash 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 dash. Repeat. It meant, no matter where we are, we find a way. He didn't know if Leo would see it, but he sent it anyway. The next day, Tom went to the school library and asked the librarian for help. He wanted to start something bigger than a memory box, bigger than letters. "What if," he said, "we made a message wall? For anyone who misses someone?" The librarian smiled. "I think that's a beautiful idea." They cleared a corner of the library. Tom brought in string, clothespins, and small cards. He wrote the first one himself. "I miss my best friend. He moved away, but we're still friends. I just had to remember how to say it." He hung it up. The next day, another card appeared. "I miss my grandma. She lives far now. I wrote her a letter yesterday." Then another. "I moved here last year. I thought no one noticed me. But someone hung up a card that said, 'It's okay to feel lost.' It helped. More came every day. I miss my dog. I wish I'd said goodbye. I'm scared I'll forget people I love. But I'm trying to stay connected." Tom read them all. Some made him sad. Others made him smile. But each one reminded him he wasn't the only one who felt this way. One afternoon, Leo came. With him to the library. He stood in front of the wall, reading the cards in silence. When he turned, his eyes were a little wet. "This is amazing," he said. "You gave people a voice." Tom shrugged. "I just didn't want anyone to feel alone like I did." Leo put a hand on his shoulder. "You're stronger than you think." That weekend, they did something special. They gathered old photos, letters and recordings, not just theirs, but ones from friends who wanted to share. Tom used a small projector and showed them on the side of the school building at night. A moving story of friendship, distance, and return. Kids came. Parents came. Even Mr. Hawley, Tom's old teacher, showed up. As the images played. Laughter, goodbyes, reunions. Tom realized something. Love doesn't disappear when people move. It just changes shape. It becomes a letter. A signal in the dark. Memory on a wall. A voice on a recording. And if you keep it alive, it keeps you alive in the hearts of others. The night before Leo was set to leave, they sat on the roof again. The stars were clear. The air was still, Tom handed Leo a small box. "What is it?" Leo asked. "Open it." Inside was a new flashlight, small, silver, with a note taped to the side, so you can always send the signal. "And so you'll always." "No, I'll always be watching for it." Leo looked at him. "I don't want to go." "I know," Tom said, "but you don't have to say goodbye. Just say, 'See you later.'" Leo smiled. "See you later." They shone their flashlights into the sky, one from each side of the roof, blinking the same message over dot dot dash 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 double quotes. "We find a way." And somewhere, maybe someone else saw it. Maybe a kid in another town, missing someone they loved. Maybe a girl who just moved and felt invisible. Maybe someone who had given up on reconnecting. And maybe, just maybe, they picked up a pen, or sent a text, or blinked a light into the... Tom had said goodbye at the station with a smile, a handshake, and a promise to write. But once he walked back home, the silence pressed in like a weight. The flashlight sat on his windowsill, unmoving. The memory box was closed. Even the message, wall at school, now filled with dozens of notes, couldn't fill the space Leo had left behind. Tom tried to stay busy. He helped younger kids in the comic club. He wrote new letters. He even started a small website where people could share stories about missing someone they loved. But every night, when the lights went out, the same thought came. What if the distance wins this time? He didn't want to believe it. But it was hard to feel close to someone who wasn't there. One rainy afternoon, Tom found an old shoebox in the back of his closet. Inside were things he'd forgotten. A friendship bracelet from summer camp, a mixed CD Leo made him, a ticket from their first movie together. At the bottom was a small notebook labeled Ideas. He opened it. Page after page was filled with drawings and plans, not just for forts or comic books, but for ways to stay connected, walkie-talkies with long range, a secret code using stars, a mailbox that sends letters into space. Tom smiled. He had been 10 when he wrote these. So full of hope. So sure that no distance was too great. He sat at his desk and flipped through the pages. And then, slowly, an idea began to grow. What if he built one of them? Not the space mailbox. That was impossible. But the star code? The signal system? What if he made it real? That weekend, Tom went to the science fair at the community center. He watched students show off robots, solar-powered cars, and weather balloons. Then he saw something that made his heart jump. A small device that blinked lights and patterns, controlled by a phone app. It could send messages in Morse code, visible from miles away. He talked to the student who built it. Her name was Maya. She wore glasses and a T-shirt that said, "Signal, not silence." "How far can it reach?" Tom asked. "At night?" She said, "With a clear sky? Up to 10 miles, maybe more if you boost the signal." Tom's mind raced. Could it work? Between cities? Maya smiled. "If you have one on each end, absolutely." That night, Tom wrote a new plan. He would build a twin light system, one for him, one for Leo. They'd set them up in their windows. Every night, they'd send each other a short signal, not just "I'm here," but real messages. How? Their day was, what they were thinking. A joke, a memory, a simple "I miss you." He called Leo. "Remember how we used to talk with flashlights?" Tom asked. "Of course," Leo said. "What if we did it again, but better, with real signals? Like a secret language?" There was a pause. Then Leo's voice, slow and warm. "I'd like that." Tom and Maya worked for weeks. They used mirrors to focus the light, timers to keep the signals steady, and a simple app to translate words into blinking patterns. Tom painted the casing blue. Leo's favorite color. When it was done, he called it the beacon. The night he turned it on, his hands shook. He typed a message. First signal. Testing. Are you there? He pressed send. The light blinked dot dash dot across the dark. He waited then. From miles away, a reply flashed on his screen. Maya had set up a receiver at Leo's school, linked to his phone. Leo's message. I see you. I'm here. Tom exhaled. It worked from that night on. The signals became part of their lives. Had a bad day. But your signal helped. Saw a shooting star. Thought of you. Remember the time we got locked in the library? Still laugh about it. And every reply made the distance feel smaller. But then, something unexpected happened. Other kids heard. About the beacon. Some built their own. Others asked for help. Tom and Maya started a club, the Signal Project, where students learned how to build simple light communicators, write in code, and send messages to friends who had moved away. They even linked 2 schools in different towns with a nightly signal exchange. One night, Tom stood on the school roof, watching the lights blink across the valley. One pulse, then another. Then a third dot. It looked like stars had come down to Earth. Maya stood beside him. You know, she said, we're not just sending light. We're sending proof. Proof of what? That care lasts. That distance doesn't have to mean goodbye. That one small thing done with heart can keep people connected. Tom nodded. He thought of all the times he'd felt alone. Of the letters he almost didn't send. Of the fear that no one would answer. But he had tried. And because he did, others were trying too. That night he sent a new signal, not just to Leo, but to everyone in the project. You are not forgotten. Across the region, lights blinked back, one by one, like stars waking up, because that's what humans do. When they feel the void grow between them, they don't accept silence. They create light. They build bridges out of memory, courage, and hope. Don't need warships or armies. They don't need power or force. They just need to believe that a single signal, sent with love, can travel farther than anyone thinks possible. And sometimes, that signal doesn't just reach one person. It inspires 100, then 1,000. And the darkness never stands a chance. They send silence to destroy a friendship. But hope struck back. Tom's beacon still shone every night, a steady pulse. From his bedroom window, sending signals across the miles to Leo. Some nights, the message was simple. Still here. Other nights, it carried a joke, a memory, or just a long, warm blink that meant, I'm thinking of you. But Tom had started wondering, not just about Leo, but about everyone. How many people out there were feeling the same ache? How many had lost someone to distance, time, or silence? How many wanted to reconnect, but didn't know how? One evening, while checking the Signal Project website, Tom saw a message from a girl in another state. Her name was Lila. My best friend moved to Oregon, she wrote. We stopped talking. I thought she forgot me. Then I saw your story. I built a beacon. Last night, she blinked back. I cried. Thank you. Tom read it over and over. That it wasn't just about him and Leo anymore. That it was bigger. Like a ripple from a single drop of water. Their idea was spreading. One light, one signal, one heart at a time. Then something strange happened. Tom got an email from a science teacher in Canada. Attached was a photo, a small device on a school rooftop, aimed at the sky. It looked just like the beacon. My students built this after hearing your story, the email said. Every night, they send a message into space, just in case someone out there is listening. They say, if humans can reconnect across cities, maybe the whole galaxy can too. Tom stared at the screen, into space. He laughed at first. Then he didn't, because the more he thought about it, the more it made sense. Humans had always looked up. We sent radio. Waves. We launched golden records into the dark. We searched for signals from other worlds. But maybe, just maybe, the real message wasn't for aliens. Maybe it was for ourselves. A reminder that no matter how far apart we are, we tried to connect, that we never stopped trying. Tom printed the photo and taped it to his wall, right beside the old picture of him and Leo under the summer sky. Then he had an idea. What if the beacon wasn't just for people on Earth? What if it could reach further? He called Maya. "Can we boost the signal?" he asked. "Like really boost it?" Maya was quiet for a second. "You mean aim it at space?" "Not to talk to aliens," Tom said, "but to say something human. Something about not giving up. About how we reach out, even when we're scared. Even when we don't know if anyone's listening." Maya exhaled. "I think we can try." They worked for weeks. With help from the science club. They linked their beacon to a small satellite dish borrowed from the local observatory. They recorded a message, not in words, but in light patterns, using the same code Tom and Leo had used since they were kids. The message said, "We remember. We care. We are still here." On a clear winter night, they aimed the signal upward, and they sent it, not as a cry for help, not as a plea, but as a declaration. A single beam of light, carrying a human truth, shot into the sky, past the clouds, past the moon, into the silent dark. Tom didn't know if anyone would see it. He didn't know if it would ever be found. But he knew this. Someone had to send it. Because if no one ever tries, nothing ever changes. A week later, Tom got a letter. Not from Earth, but from a school in Australia. A teacher had shown her class the story of the beacon. Her students had built their own and started a nightly signal exchange with a school in Kenya. "They've never met," she wrote, "but they feel like friends. You showed us that connection isn't about distance. It's about courage." Tom. Read it aloud to Leo over video chat. Leo smiled. "You started a movement." Tom shook his head. "We just refused to stay silent." That night, Tom stood outside, looking up. The stars were bright, cold, distant, but he didn't feel small. He felt part of something bigger. Because every time someone sent a letter, lit a flashlight, or whispered, "I miss you," they were doing the same thing. They were saying, "I am here. You matter. I haven't forgotten." And maybe, somewhere, someday, that signal would be found. By a lost traveler. By a lonely soul on another world. By a child staring at the sky, wondering if anyone cares. And maybe they'd blink back. Because that's what humans do. We don't wait for permission to hope. We don't stop loving just because someone is far away. We don't let silence win. We send light into the dark, not because we know it will be seen, but because we have to believe it can be. And in that act, small, quiet, human, there is more strength than any worship, more power than any army, more truth than any empire. We are fragile. We break. We feel lost. We connect.